In addition to talking about how many peaks our histogram is, we can also talk about its general shape. There are 3 different cases for the type of shape a histogram might have. This first one on top can be folded in half. That is, if I imagine a line dividing it right here, I could fold the histogram over that line and it would lie directly on top of itself. This shape is called symmetric. Now I want to point out that most of the time, in fact almost all the time, we're not going to have something that's perfectly symmetric. So it's also okay to call it something approximately. That is, if it looks like it can just about fold it over on top of itself, I would say it's approximately symmetric. Now, this can be compared to the next one, in which obviously if I cut that in half, that's not going to lay on top of itself, right? So this is obviously not symmetric or even approximately symmetric. Rather, this has a tail that trails off to the right side, which is why we call this skewed right. So a histogram is skewed right if it tails off to the right, which leaves us with the final option, skewed left. And a histogram is skewed left if it trails off to the left. Now, at this point, we're kind of getting sick of drawing histograms, so I want to point out that another way we can do this is by giving the approximate shape of it. That is, looking at this top histogram here, this top histogram kind of builds up, peaks, and then goes back down. That is, rather than drawing the actual histogram itself, I can go ahead and say, well, I have a histogram that looks like approximately like that. This is approximately symmetric. Same with this one down here. That is, this one goes up and then trails down on the side. If I wanted to draw that without drawing the bars, I would go ahead and draw it as up and trailing off to the side. The final one here goes up and drops off. I can give an approximation of that by drawing it without the bars. So in review, a histogram can be symmetric or approximately symmetric if we can fold it in half, skewed right if it trails off to the right, or skewed left if it trails off to the left. We can also display histograms rather than drawing the actual bars as these general shapes, that is, drawing the curve that would lie on top of the histogram.